Hi, I am Allie Camilletti, and you are listening to Snack Leadership. I will be talking about everything leadership, broken down into bite-sized pieces. You will hear what different leadership skills look like in organizations and how they can rise teams up or take them down. I help leaders build resilience and improve performance by bringing awareness to opportunity behaviors in my business. Spark your mindset. I provide leadership and sales coaching, as well as team building and guest speaking. My hope is for you to feel inspiration and to create a spark in your mindset. Hi everyone. Today we are talking about femininity. Femininity is a set of qualities, expressions, and energies traditionally associated with softness, empathy, intuition, receptivity, creativity, and nurturing, which can be embodied by people of any gender. I was noticing as I was getting ready to record this and I was looking back at some of the female leaders that have spoken most recently, right? We had Marisol, who spoke on sustainable success, and then most recently, Angela Lewis, who spoke on femininity. I found it interesting that they both picked the same quote for what they felt related to the leadership skill of choice. And it made me feel like, yes, it applies, but also I feel like for women, this is really, really strong right now. And it's the Maya Angelou quote of people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And it does speak to both the sustainable success and the femininity, but I do feel like it is one of our strengths as women in how we make people feel. I found a couple cool articles that I'm going to share today. I'm going to start off with one that is by Forbes, but it was written by Carol J. Geffner. She's the president of Geffner Group. And it says why women leaders will play an essential role in 2025 and beyond. Now, she talks about some data. I'm not here to compare are women better than men. That is not what this episode is about at all. It is about what women, in the sense of femininity, can bring to the table. Have I experienced male leaders really embody some of these feminine traits? Absolutely, yes. So again, it's not gender specific, but we're going to veer towards women when I talk about it, just because that is my natural and I am a woman. And I speak from what I experienced being a leader in the different industries that I've worked in and how femininity played a role and didn't play a role early on for me. I mean, I basically entered the restaurant industry in my mid-20s, and I entered it in a way that I felt like I needed to carry more of the masculine traits in order to be successful in my role. One, because I was young, and other because I felt as a woman, I had to do that. That was just my programming. No great science behind it. I think it's very common though. And keep in mind, this was in the mid 90s, early 90s. And so when we talk about women coming into leadership and how really it wasn't until the 1970s that we saw more of this. So Carol talks about while women remain underrepresented in leadership roles, they've made incredible inroads in the past decade. During the pandemic, she wrote a book about women's leadership and why it matters, where she explored the progress women have made in securing leadership roles since the 1970s, as well as why they continue to face obstacles on their way to the top. I think about my mother and who I watched as a young girl, and she was very career focused. She worked in retail for 40 plus years. So she started in the 70s when I was young, and she shared with me that she was told instead of striving for a leadership position, she should be going to PTA meetings. Doesn't make it right, but I bet a lot of people can relate to this as they hear this, because this is the reality of what was happening. So Carol says women often demonstrate essential leadership capabilities. A growing body of research suggests that women are substantially adept when it comes to the skills and traits that are vital for effective leadership. In 2019, business development experts Jack Zenger and Joseph Folkman performed a particularly comprehensive study of gender and leadership. According to their findings, men in leadership roles ranked higher on two key capabilities: strategic perspective and technical/professional expertise. Meanwhile, women in leadership ranked higher on all other key leadership capabilities. Now note, men only outranked women in perspective and expertise by about 1 percentage point, while women excelled in the other capabilities by a wide margin. For example, when it came to taking an initiative, women leaders ranked 7.4% points higher than their male counterparts. They scored 5.4% higher on being resilient and 5.1% points higher on their ability to drive results. But Zenger and Folkman noted that while women scored higher on nearly all leadership capabilities, these leaders weren't promoting the narrative themselves. Women were found to give themselves lower assessments when it came to self-assessments in nearly all categories compared to men. Yeah, absolutely. Very common. Women's best leadership skills are critical for the future. In today's business landscape, we can be assured of only one thing. We are entering an uncertain time. Change is in the air, but the form it takes and its impact on work is yet to be seen. Several leadership capabilities will be critical for navigating this future, and based on Zenger and Folkman's research, they're all areas where women excel. Bold leadership. In the face of uncertainty, there's no question that leaders' ability to take risks and make brave decisions will be essential. They must be able to respond quickly to shifting economic and political situations that can impact performance and operations, like retaining highly qualified foreign employees or quickly rebuilding supply chains. Communication in times of change. Disinformation and misinformation tend to proliferate. To stop these from taking root, leaders must get ahead of the storm with well-crafted, consistent, and transparent communication. Then there's integrity. Instability can undermine psychological safety. Absolutely. Which is why organizations with an honest, trustworthy reputation are more likely to thrive. Leaders who are adept at building high trust cultures are better positioned to keep their best talent and drive results. Motivation. Everyone responds to uncertainty differently. Some people simply shut down and retreat, while others are prone to anger and high-stress behaviors. For these reasons, leaders who can inspire and motivate team members are going to play a vital role. Problem solving and analysis. One of the most important skills leaders will need in the coming years is the ability to solve problems and analyze issues, especially in collaboration with diverse groups. In times of rapid, underpredicted change, listening to conflicting perspectives, thinking critically about possible scenarios, and moving toward action are essential for sustainable success. Whatever 2025 may bring, certain capabilities will be much needed as we temper change and try to ensure team members are going to do the work that truly matters. For the best chance of success, organizations may want to leverage the guidance and expertise of women leaders. So as women, the question is, how can we embrace our femininity And I believe part of it is stop trying to be who we aren't. Like really lean in to these natural feminine capabilities that we have. And I think that's where it gets hard is we feel like, and I'm just speaking for myself, I've felt like I had to be somebody else to be successful in my careers before. And I let that go a while ago. I would say I let it go when I started this business, for sure. When I was doing event planning, I felt I had to be somebody else, yes. And I was striving for that perfectionism and making sure that I felt valued. And now I have been able to lean into my own femininity. And I talk about how I wore dresses for a month last summer. And a lot of it was because as I'm single parenting, I'm feeling like I'm having to carry on both roles when it comes to that femininity and masculinity. And just for me, what that can look like is I'm doing all the things. I don't have a handyman per se to help me with a lot of the things. So I am fulfilling that role that more men would usually carry on, for sure. And for me in that situation, it looks like I'm handling the entire sprinkler system. I'm not saying that women don't usually do that, but I'm saying that that is something that I am doing now that before I would have had a man handle. Because when it comes to certain things like programming things, that's not my skill set. No. And I do lean more towards that intuitive nature and that softness. I'm upkeeping all of the gardening. I am figuring out the R-Pod now. I am not a mechanic. I'm not fixing my car. I know my skill set, but I'm doing a lot of these different pieces that don't make me feel like I am really in that feminine place a lot. And so that is why I wore dresses for an entire month because I just felt so conflicted in all the things that I was doing that I didn't feel like I was able to really lean into that feminine place. So, another article that I found and I really liked was by Elevate with Alice. And this article is 5 Feminine Energy Anchors to Guide Women in Leadership in 2025. She says, as women in leadership embrace your feminine energy, can enhance your grace, influence, and fulfillment in both personal and professional spheres. So 5 themes to center your growth and leadership journey in the coming year. Flowing with ease. Let go of the need to control every aspect of your life and leadership. That can seem really hard at times. But I feel that's something that I try to do. Trust the natural rhythms of your work and relationships. Focus on what you can influence and release what lies beyond your control. By embracing flow, you also allow solutions to unfold effortlessly and create space for ease in your decisions and interactions. Nourishment. Pour into yourself so that you can lead from a place of abundance. Make time to restore self-care, whether through intentional morning rituals, moments of quiet reflection in nature, or a delicious, nourishing meal. Remember, a woman who replenishes her energy can give so much more to others. Yes, when I am not doing all the things, trying to control all the things, and I'm able just to flow and then nourish myself with that self-care, oh, I am a much better person to be around. Hands down, absolutely. One of my favorites, connection. We are all put on this earth to connect. I feel like we forget that sometimes. Leadership's relational. Deepen your bonds by being fully present with those you lead and care about. Reflect. How can I give and receive more love, kindness, and genuine attention this year? By leading with connection, you foster trust and collaboration that inspires others. So taking that time for connection. I have to schedule my connection, but I make sure I get my time with women that I feel I can relate to and I can have those deep conversations. Be more creative. Your feminine energy thrives in creativity. Whether it's designing solutions, journaling your thoughts, planting a garden, or simply trying something new, don't strive for perfection in your creations. Instead, allow them to flow from your heart. Creativity isn't just artistic, it's how you breathe life into ideas and innovations as a leader. This one can be really hard, and I think it's so important, but it's normalizing receiving. Leaders often give generously, but hesitate to receive. So master the art of allowing, welcome compliments, support and opportunities with grace by opening yourself to receiving. You honor the reciprocal nature of relationships and strengthen your inner power. This is something that often comes up in the leadership I do with women is they have a hard time accepting compliments. And that goes back to their worth. And so the importance of letting that receiving happen. So focus on confidence, ease, and grace. These themes will remind you that being a leader isn't just about doing. No, it's about being. Lead with your feminine energy and watch your leadership and life flourish. So I leave with you this quote by Oprah Winfrey. The world's most prominent women leaders show the importance of honesty, courage, impact, and decisive action in leadership. Thank you for tuning in to Snack Leadership. I hope you felt inspiration, motivation, and felt your mindset spark. Snack Leadership is recorded and produced by myself, Ali Camilletti, and music by Shireen Amini.